Hello everyone, this is ACHAA Akaya, and we are still in round one of the VileGaming.com matchup against the SC2Armory.com community site. And right now we have game Darkn3ss versus KillerPlague, and Darkn3ss is playing for the SC2 Armory. KillerPlague will be playing for Vile Gaming, but Darkn3ss is actually a pretty good player. I've seen him play in the Wrath of the Xel'Naga tournament that was hosted on the SC2 Armory, and he did quite well. I believe he placed in the top 4. I'm not sure if he got 3rd place or 4th place. I did not get to watch the semifinal games, but I know that he did do very well in that tournament overall, so I'm excited to see what he tries to do here in this community game matchup here, the exhibition matches that we got going on. And it looks like he is going to be spawning as the blue Zerg on the right side of the map here, and on the left side of the map we do have KillerPlague as the pink Protoss. So this map is going to be Lost Temple, which of course is a 4-player map, and it looks like a very early drone going out for Darkn3ss here. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to try to do with this, possibly just scouting right now, as it is important to get an early scout out on a 4-player map, and it looks like he is going to be scouting the bottom middle base. And likewise on the other side of the map right now we do have a probe from KillerPlague. He is getting ready to scout over to his opponent Darkn3ss right now, so he will be aware that his Zerg opponent has spawned in the mid right, as it looks like Darkn3ss is on his way over to the correct base for the pink Protoss KillerPlague. And there is one gateway going down along with the additional pylon at the entrance of the base for KillerPlague, which if you have not seen a whole lot of games, this is very common opening for a Protoss player, especially on a lot of these maps where they have this ramp. Basically you put your first 2 buildings right next to the choke point here, which this gives you a very small entrance to defend against, and that is especially useful against Zerg, because when they come at you with a lot of Zerglings in an early rush, it can be very difficult to hold that off. And a quick note here, we do see a 15 hatch go down for Darkn3ss, so he is definitely going to go for a little bit more of an economic game, and then it looks like putting his spawning pool down on 15 as soon as he got his next drone out. So going for a 15 hatch, 15 pool. So he is definitely going to be set up for a little bit higher econ game. We'll see how that plays out, as it looks like KillerPlague is opting to go for a little bit more tech heavy route, because he does have his first gateway and a cybernetics core already. Although looking at the number of miners he has, he does have a decent amount of miners right now. If we take a look at the income tab, we can see both players are pretty even in minerals, and it looks like the Protoss player KillerPlague actually has an advantage on the gas, because he has 1 geyser up and running already with 3 probes in the assimilator. Now the reason that Darkn3ss is currently behind is because he did invest the extra resources in getting down that hatchery very early. Of course, if he's able to get that hatchery up and running and saturate that with drones early enough, he will take a significant advantage over the Protoss player until he is able to get up his own expansion, or at least do some significant damage to the mineral line of Darkn3ss. But it looks like there is a second gateway coming in right now, and he has started the research for Warp Gate, which Warp Gate is a very crucial technology to have as a Protoss player. Not only does it allow you to warp units in anywhere within pylon power, but it also gives you a slight boost on the production rate, the amount of cooldown time for producing units through the Warp Gate technology, as opposed to just queuing them in the gateway, is slightly shorter. I'm not sure if there's a specific percentage attached to that, or if there are just different times overall, but there is a slightly faster production rate when you use the Warp Gate technology rather than just queuing up units like you have to with the initial gateways. And a couple more pylons going down here for KillerPlague, and it looks like he is going to get his second assimilator up and running. And as you can see, using the chrono boost to get some probes out, he is not going to be chrono boosting any of his army units, at least early on. He does not want to try to keep any early pressure on. I'm actually kind of surprised that KillerPlague still has his scout out in the Zerg base. He is able to get all the intel he needs on Darkn3ss's base before taking off after these first 2 Zerglings come out here. So it looks like he is going to be able to get that probe back to safety without any issues at all. But looking back at the base of Darkn3ss, his hatchery is up and running at his expansion now, and he has a queen over there and already some drones mining. So we should see, as you can see already, he does have a slight econ advantage right now, and we should see that start to spike as he saturates more and more drones on that mineral line. But back at the base of KillerPlague, it looks like Darkn3ss has chased that probe just a little bit too far, and losing all of his Zerglings except for 1, which managed to escape with only 5 hit points. So just getting a little bit of loss of control of his units there, it looks like, possibly. But he does have very good mineral saturation at his main base, and I would assume that he is going to continue to crank drones out at his expansion. As you can see here, he's already got 8 at his expansion and 3 more hatching right there. So we are going to start to see this gap in the econ start to widen up a lot here over the next few minutes as that base comes online. You can already see he's already got about a 200 mineral per minute lead on the Protoss player, and just now getting his layer tech. So we should see him transition here into probably Hydras or Mutas. We'll have to take a look once he gets out there. But the Protoss player, KillerPlague, is moving across the map now with a small force here. It looks like he's got a couple Stalkers, 4 Zealots, and 1 Sentry in the mix, which this is actually a small force, but it can be very deadly against the light offensive units that the Zerg player has right now, trying to get a couple Spine Crawlers up and managing to squeeze out a few Zerglings here, and they do have the speed upgrade research, but Zealots are very, very strong against Zerglings, so I don't know if this is going to be enough Zerglings to hold that off. Of course, if the Protoss player does not hit before these Spine Crawlers get up, he may have a tougher time breaking down that Zerg entrance, but there are more resources coming across right now, 2 more Zealots and 2 more Sentries, which is definitely going to give him a bit of an advantage since the Zerg player is so Ling heavy right now. Zealots are just going to absolutely dominate those Zerglings, and as you can see on the minimap, he is just continuing to stream units across, and that Warp Gate technology has finished, and he has 4 gateways up. This 4-gate push is very, very common for Protoss players right now. Basically, you get your early gateway and Cybernetics core, get that warp technology out as quick as you can, and then once you get your second gateway up and a little bit more cash, you throw down 2 more gateways, convert everything over to warp gates, and then just start cranking out units. And especially if you're up against a Zerg that is trying to fast expand, this can be a very, very difficult position to defend for a Zerg player if they are not aware that the 4-gate push is coming, which the Zerg player did not scout that, so he is actually in really bad shape right now, as it looks like there are going to be plenty of units to take down this Zerg entrance right now, and 2 Queens in the mix along with these 3 Spine Crawlers and Zerglings, all the Zerglings nearly going down now, and 2 more Queens coming down to get in the mix. One of the Spine Crawlers has gone down, although there are 2 Spine Crawlers left and a lot of Queens, and it looks like he actually does manage to hold this off. There are still a decent amount of Protoss units here, but for the time being, it looks like KillerPlague is going to back off and give the Zerg player Darkn3ss a little bit of room to breathe, and there are some Hydralisks out on the map now, so that is definitely going to help the Zerg player out, because just having Zerglings up against the amount of Zealots that he was working with is very, very difficult to pull off. So we'll see if he's able to continue to hold this defensive position. There are a lot of units still being warped in and streaming across the map here from KillerPlague, and as you can see, he has not advanced his tech at all since he got that 4-gate. Just a lot of piling